In 1862, the United States was busy tearing itself apart in a civil war, so naturally, Abraham Lincoln decided it was the perfect time to build a railroad across the entire continent. The Pacific Railway Act handed the job to two companies and told them to race. The Central Pacific would build east out of Sacramento. The Union Pacific would build west from the Missouri River. Somewhere in the middle they would meet. To get anyone to attempt this, the government dangled the public's money. Land grants and bonds paid out by the mile. Build more miles, get more cash. What could go wrong? The route over the mountains was scouted by an engineer named Theodore Judah, nicknamed Crazy Judah for his obsession. He found the pass and got the law passed, then caught yellow fever crossing Panama and died in 1863, never seeing a single mile of track laid. What he left behind was a nearly impossible job. Roughly 1,800 miles of track across deserts, rivers, and a wall of granite, laid entirely by hand with picks, shovels, and black powder. No bulldozers, no GPS, just tens of thousands of men and a deadline. And the hardest obstacle stood right at the starting line for the Central Pacific, the Sierra Nevada. The Sierra was a problem you could not go around, only through. The Central Pacific needed an army, and their Irish crews kept quitting. So contractor Charles Crocker tried hiring Chinese immigrants. His own foreman objected, then a trial crew of 50 outworked everybody. By 1868, over 12,000 Chinese workers made up about 90% of the Central Pacific's entire labor force. They did the deadliest work for the worst pay. White workers earned about $35 a month, with food and a bunk. Chinese workers got less and had to buy their own food and pitch their own tents. They bored 15 tunnels through solid granite with hand drills and unstable nitroglycerin that sometimes blew up the men using it. In winter, avalanches swept whole camps off the mountain. In 1867, 3,000 of them staged a peaceful, coordinated strike for better pay, until Crocker cut off their food and starved them back to work in 8 days. And that famous image of workers dangling off cliffs in woven baskets, historians have mostly debunked it. The truth was somehow both less dramatic and worse. Meanwhile, 800 miles east, the other railroad had its own kind of chaos. That chaos was the Union Pacific, blasting across the Great Plains with Irish immigrants and Civil War veterans, men from both the Union and Confederate armies who had just spent 4 years shooting at each other. Trailing the end of the track was a rolling boomtown nicknamed Hell on Wheels. Saloons, gambling, and zero law that packed up and leapfrogged forward every few weeks. By 1868, the two railroads were closing in on Utah, and here is the scam. Since they got paid by the mile, neither wanted to stop. So their crews blew right past each other, grading two separate parallel lines hundreds of feet apart for miles, getting paid to build a railroad to nowhere side by side. Congress finally had to step in and pick the meeting point, Promontory Summit, Utah. To settle who was faster, the bosses bet $10,000. On April 28, 1869, the Central Pacific's crew laid 10 miles of track in under 12 hours, a record that has never been broken. Then, just to show off, they ran a locomotive over the fresh rail at 40 miles an hour. On May 10, 1869, two locomotives, the Union Pacific's number 119 and the Central Pacific's Jupiter, rolled nose to nose at Promontory. A golden spike was set into the final tie, wired to a telegraph so the whole nation could hear the country connect. Then the two officials, Leland Stanford and Thomas Durant, swung the hammer at it and both missed. The telegraph operator just tapped out the word anyway, done. And it was done. A journey that had taken 4 to 6 brutal months by wagon now took about a week by train. The continent had been stitched together with iron. But the workers who had done the most dangerous miles of all, the Chinese crews, were quietly left out of the celebration photo. And that closes the whole arc of Manifest Destiny, the so-called God-given right to take the continent. It started with a doomed mission in Texas. It became a war with Mexico, a stampede for gold, and a flood of wagons rolling west. And it ended here, two iron rails meeting in the Utah desert. The map was finally full at a staggering cost to everyone already here. The frontier was officially closed, but the story of the American West, that was just getting started.